Okay, so we got the Jackery Solar Saga 60 foldable solar panel sitting in the sun there, direct sunlight, hooked into the Bluetti EB3A, pulling about 38 watts. When I first plugged it in, it was pulling about 45 from a 60, which is not bad. 38's a little low, but now we've got it hooked into, but not turned on yet, the IceCo GO20. Inside the GO20 is nothing but a thermometer. And that thermometer currently reads about 80 degrees. And the reason I'm doing it like this is I want to start from scratch. I took the divider out, by the way, so we'll do a single zone. I want to start from scratch, meaning this IceCo GO20 is room temperature, or actually a little warmer. You saw it was 80 degrees. I'm going to close it up. I'm going to turn it on. I'm going to set it for 37, 36, and see what it pulls from the Bluetti EB3A. And if the Solar Saga can continue to support that. So let's turn this on. Okay, still pulling 37, 38. I'm going to set this to, 36. Okay, it's reading 66 now, even though the thermometer said 80, but the thermometer was outside for a little while. Outside of the IceCo, not outside in the sun. So what we're looking at right now, Solar Saga, Jackery Solar Saga 60 foldable solar watt panel, pulling in about 37 watts into the EB3A. IceCo GO20 is taking 34 watts. That's where we're at right now, which means we're bringing in about 4 watts more than we're taking, is what the IceCo GO20 is running at as it cools itself down to the set 36. So let's come back in a little bit and check it again because it's ramping up now. Oops, now it's taking 51, it's ramping up a bit, and the Jackery Solar Saga 60 is only giving us about 38. So let's come back in a bit and see how it's doing. It's continuing to ramp. The GO20 is pulling more and more. Looks like we're leveling 55 watts. Looks like it's stuck right about there. Jackery Solar Saga 60 pulling in 38, so we definitely have an offset of 20 watts, basically, that the IceCo GO20 is consuming more than the Jackery Solar Saga can provide. Not bad, because this is a really small setup. I mean, one of the smallest solar power stations, if you want to call it that, or power bank, one of the smallest foldable solar panels. So these two gizmos are very light. Pumping the IceCo GO20 sitting on the Sportsman. This is another very small, very light 20-liter fridge. It's by I'm forgetting now. Zone by zone. You can set 2 zones. I took the divider out to do a single zone because that's all I need for this test. But this is a really small, very portable setup. Where are we at now? Okay, now we're pulling 62. And the Jackery Solar Saga is bringing in about 37, 38. Still, though, that's not bad. That'll obviously allow this to power the IceCo for much longer because it's being offset by 37 watts from this teeny little foldable panel. But let's come back in a bit and see where we're at. Checking back in. It's reading 36 degrees Fahrenheit, the IceCo GO20 is. Let's see what the thermometer says. Thermometer says 50 at the moment. So let's let that keep going. And remember, I'm doing a worst case scenario here. There is nothing in the fridge to help keep it cool. Typically, I load up the fridge and then I will pre-cool it by electricity, house electric, before I run it off a battery. But how are we doing here? Right now, the IceCo GO20 has cycled off, so it's pulling 0. The Jackery Saga Solar 60 foldable panels pulling in 37. So here's an opportunity where the solar power is going to now offset even more whatever the GO20 needed, because it has cycled itself off at the moment because it reached the temperature, at least it thinks it does. We saw 50 on the inside thermometer, but we'll come back again. But this is where we can add a little to the EB3A before the IceCo GO20 cycles back on again. And this is such a small little panel. Now the EB3A is capable of about 200 watts solar power, but you have to watch the specs, the voltage and the amps, because you can easily over voltage this little guy and burn it out. So that's why I always use a solar panel that is within spec and generally a little smaller, just to be sure. And in this particular case, it's fine. With the IceCo GO20 cycled off, it's not pulling any. The sun is adding 36 to the Bluetti, which means we can probably work like this for a while. But let's come back in the back. The IceCo GO20 cycled on, but I kind of forced it to. It's pulling 43, 44 watts. I forced it to because even though I had it set for 36, every time I looked at the thermometer, it was about 50. That's a pretty big difference. Now, I know I'm in a very warm garage, but I'm not in direct sunlight. So I cycled it back on by lowering the temperature to about 30 Fahrenheit. But that anyway kicks this on, and you could see it does ramp up when it has a lot more temperature variance, let's call it, to cover. And that's fine. Obviously, the Bluetti can handle this, no problem. But with respect to what the panel is bringing in versus what the GO20 wants, you have a 24 degree Fahrenheit variance, which still is not a terrible thing. I mean, anytime you can bring power into the Bluetti from a panel, as the GO20 is asking for more, you're going to extend the runtime of your power station, in this case, the Bluetti EB3A. So I'm going to stop this test now, basically, because I think we have a pretty good idea of what a small little fold-up solar panel, 60-watter, will do with the Bluetti EB3A and the IceCo GO20 running off of it. And we got more videos coming, especially regarding the Sportsman. At the moment, I have a do not ride recall, and I haven't brought it into the dealer yet. So that's why there haven't been any videos on the Sportsman, but stay tuned.